Have you ever wondered what would happen if the electricity just stopped working tomorrow and never came back on? Welcome to a journey into true freedom. Today, we are talking about how wood can be your absolute rescue. We will explore the lost art of true independence, the magic of a pantry full of jars, and the heart of a home powered by a wood-fired kitchen. I promise you, by the end of this video, you will look at a simple pile of firewood in a completely different way. But here is the crazy part. Most people think going back to basics means living a miserable, primitive life. They think it is a step backward. But what if stepping away from the modern grid is actually the only way to move forward into real security? We are going to uncover the secret to living comfortably when the rest of the world is panicking. Tell me in the comments right now, could you survive a week without electricity? Let us find out. Before we dive into the details, let us set the stage. For thousands of years, humanity thrived without wires, meters, or digital thermostats. The center of every household was the fire. It provided heat, cooked the food, and offered a place for the family to gather. Fast forward to today, and we have outsourced our survival to massive corporations. We rely on fragile supply chains for our groceries and complex grids for our warmth. But a growing number of people are waking up. They are rediscovering the power of the wood kitchen. They are building massive supplies in glass jars, ensuring their families are fed no matter what happens to the economy. And they are keeping traditions alive, like the beautiful Easter centerpieces crafted by artisans like Iwonka, which remind us that independence is not just about survival, but about creating a beautiful, meaningful life. Now let us break down exactly how this lifestyle works. So let us dive right into the heart of the matter. Wood is your ultimate rescue. In our modern world, we are completely tied to invisible grids. We depend on wires and pipes to keep us warm and fed. But what happens when those systems fail? This is where the magic of a simple log comes into play. Wood is stored solar energy. It is nature's perfect battery. Imagine a massive winter storm hitting your town. The power lines snap under the weight of the ice. The entire neighborhood goes dark. The digital thermostats go blank. People are shivering in their expensive modern homes. But in your house, the atmosphere is entirely different. You simply strike a match. You toss a few dry logs into the cast iron stove. Within minutes, a deep, radiating heat fills the room. It is a kind of warmth that electric heaters can never replicate. The myth that heating with wood is a dirty, outdated practice is completely false. Modern wood stoves are incredibly efficient and clean-burning. They give you absolute control over your environment. You're no longer at the mercy of utility companies. You are the master of your own warmth. This single change shifts your entire mindset from dependence to true self-reliance. It is the very foundation of living free. Now let us talk about the true center of an independent home, the wood-fired kitchen. This is not just a heater. It is the beating heart of your daily life. When you cook on a wood stove, you are engaging in an ancient grounding practice. Think about the incredible versatility here. You have a fire blazing inside. The heavy iron top provides different temperature zones. You can boil water directly over the firebox. You can simmer a rich stew on the cooler side. And the oven. Baking bread in a wood-fired oven produces a crust and flavour that a modern electric oven can only dream of. Many people think cooking on wood is dangerously unpredictable. They imagine burning everything to a crisp. But that is a massive myth. It just takes a little practice to read the fire. You learn to listen to the crackle and feel the heat. Let me give you a picture. Outside, the snow is falling heavily. Inside, the kitchen smells like fresh yeast and roasting vegetables. The stove is heating the entire house while simultaneously cooking your dinner and drying your wet boots. It is the ultimate multitasking tool. It requires zero electricity, yet it provides everything you need to survive and thrive. Moving on to a crucial element of our independence, the jars and the supplies. Heating is only half the battle. If you are truly independent, you must control your food source. This is where the magic of canning comes in. We are talking about rows upon rows of glass jars lining the shelves of a dark, cool pantry. This is your personal grocery store. It never closes, and it never runs out of stock because of a supply chain issue. Imagine harvesting a massive crop of tomatoes in the middle of summer. Instead of letting them rot, you spend a weekend boiling them down, adding herbs and sealing them in glass. 6 months later, in the dead of winter, you pop open that lid. The smell of summer fills your kitchen. You have just bypassed the global agricultural system. There is a common misconception that canning is dangerous or too difficult for ordinary people to learn. The truth is, with a good pressure canner and basic hygiene, it is incredibly safe and deeply satisfying. Building this stockpile gives you a psychological peace of mind that money simply cannot buy. You know that whatever happens in the outside world, your family will eat well tonight. Let us explore the broader concept of building your emergency supplies. Having jars is great, but a true independent lifestyle requires a strategic approach to stockpiling. You need a mix of everything: grains, beans, salt, and medical supplies. The secret here is rotation. You do not just buy food and let it sit in a bunker for 20 years. You integrate it into your daily life. You eat what you store, and you store what you eat. Let us say you buy 50 pounds of rice. You keep it sealed in airtight buckets. Every time you cook dinner on your wood stove, you use a little bit of that rice. Then you replace it. This creates a flowing river of resources rather than a stagnant pond. People often laugh at the idea of having a year's worth of food in the basement. They call it paranoia. But think about the peace of mind it brings. If you lose your job, or if inflation drives grocery prices through the roof, you do not have to panic. Your pantry is a bank account that pays dividends in calories and comfort. It is the ultimate buffer against an unpredictable world, and when combined with your wood kitchen, you are virtually unstoppable. But independence is not just about bare survival. It is about maintaining our culture, our traditions, and our morale. This brings us to the beautiful work of Iwonka and her Easter centerpieces. When you live off the grid or embrace a highly self-reliant lifestyle, it is easy to become obsessed with just chopping wood and boiling water. But human beings need beauty. We need art. Iwonka creates these stunning, intricate decorations using natural materials found right outside her door: twigs, dried flowers, moss, and hand-painted eggs. These centerpieces are not just decorations. They are a statement. They say that even though we live simply, our lives are rich and full of meaning. Imagine your rustic wooden table. You have a steaming bowl of stew from your canned supplies, cooked on the wood stove, and right in the middle of the table sits one of Iwonka's gorgeous Easter creations. It elevates the entire meal. There is a myth that preppers and homesteaders live bleak, grey lives in concrete bunkers. Iwonka proves them wrong. Integrating traditional crafts into your survival plan keeps your spirit alive. It connects you to the seasons and to your heritage. Let us get back to the practical side of our wood rescue. Sourcing your fuel is a massive part of this independence. You cannot just burn any piece of wood you find on the ground and expect good results. Understanding firewood is a science. You have to know the difference between hardwoods and softwoods. Hardwoods like oak, hickory, and ash are the gold standard. They burn slow, they burn hot, and they leave a wonderful bed of glowing coals that will keep your house warm until morning. Softwoods like pine or spruce burn fast and leave little behind. They are great for starting the fire, but terrible for sustaining it. Picture yourself walking through your own patch of forest. You identify a dead standing oak tree. You fell it, buck it into rounds, and split it. You stack it neatly to dry for at least 1 year. When you finally carry that seasoned wood into your house, you know exactly how much heat it contains. You earned it with your own sweat. This breaks the illusion that energy just magically appears from a wall socket. You understand the true cost of staying warm, and because you harvested it yourself, the cost in money is absolutely zero. This leads perfectly into the physical reality of true independence. Chopping wood is not a chore. It is a lifestyle. It is the ultimate workout program. We live in a society where people sit in padded chairs all day, staring at screens, and then pay money to go to a gym to lift heavy metal objects. When you rely on wood for your rescue, your daily chores keep you incredibly fit. Swinging an axe engages your core, your shoulders, and your back. It clears your mind. There is a famous old saying that chopping your own wood warms you twice, once when you split it, and once when you burn it. That saying is entirely true. Think about the satisfaction of a crisp autumn morning. The air is cold. You step outside with your splitting maul. The rhythmic sound of steel hitting wood echoes across the yard. With every swing, you are securing your family's comfort for the winter. Some people think this kind of manual labour is a sign of poverty. But in reality, it is a sign of immense wealth. The wealth of health, capability, and total freedom from monthly gym memberships and heating bills. Let us talk more deeply about mastering the wood-fired kitchen. It requires a fundamental shift in how you think about cooking. With a modern stove, you turn a dial to a specific number. With a wood stove, you are managing a living, breathing element. You control the heat by moving the pots around the cast iron surface. The area directly over the firebox is your boiling zone. As you move away from the fire, the temperature drops, giving you perfect spots for simmering and keeping food warm. Let me give you a brilliant example. You can put a pot of tough meat and root vegetables on the cooler side of the stove before you go to bed. The fire dies down to coals overnight. The stove stays gently warm. When you wake up the next morning, that meat is incredibly tender, slow cooked to perfection while you were sleeping. It takes zero extra effort. People often believe that cooking with wood means everything takes hours of standing over a hot fire. The truth is, once you learn the zones of your stove, it is actually more passive than modern cooking. It forces you to slow down, plan ahead, and work with the rhythm of the fire. Now, consider the profound financial impact of this independence. Let us crunch some numbers, metaphorically speaking. Imagine the thousands of dollars the average family spends every single year on electricity and natural gas just to keep their home at a livable temperature. Now imagine taking that entire expense and wiping it out completely. When wood is your rescue, your heating bill disappears. Your cooking bill disappears. If you grow and can your own food in jars, a massive chunk of your grocery bill disappears too. You are suddenly keeping the money you earn. This gives you an incredible advantage. Let us say a financial crisis hits. Inflation skyrockets. The cost of living doubles. Your neighbours are panicking, taking on second jobs just to pay the utility companies. You, on the other hand, are sitting comfortably by your fire, eating a delicious meal prepared from your stockpile. You are shielded from the economic storm. It is a myth that you need to be rich to be a prepper or a homesteader. In fact, this lifestyle is the absolute best way to build wealth from the ground up, by simply refusing to participate in the consumer cycle. Let us circle back to the art of the jar. There is a specific kind of magic in preserving meat. Most people understand canning fruits and making jams, but canning meat is where you achieve elite levels of self-reliance. Without electricity, a freezer is just an insulated box waiting to fail. If the grid goes down, hundreds of dollars of meat can spoil in a matter of days. But when you pressure can meat, it becomes shelf-stable for years. Imagine taking raw beef, packing it tightly into glass jars with a little salt, and processing it. The meat cooks perfectly in its own juices. Months later, you can open that jar, and you have instantly tender, ready-to-eat beef for a quick stew on your wood stove. People are terrified of canning meat. They have heard horror stories, but science has given us exact guidelines. If you follow the rules, it is foolproof. It completely removes the anxiety of power outages. You never have to worry about losing your food investment again. This is true food security. It is the kind of security that our great-grandparents understood, but that we have foolishly forgotten. Next, let us explore how the wood stove provides another critical element of survival: hot water. Heating water takes a massive amount of energy. In a grid-down scenario, taking a hot shower is usually the first luxury to disappear, but a properly set-up wood kitchen can solve this problem. effortlessly. Many traditional and modern wood stoves come with a water jacket or a reservoir. As the fire burns to heat the room and cook the food, it simultaneously heats gallons of water. Picture this. You have spent the entire day outside in the freezing mud, chopping wood and tending to your property. You are cold to the bone. You come inside, and there is a massive tank of steaming hot water waiting for you, heated entirely by the same logs that cooked your dinner. You can take a hot bath using zero electricity. The myth here is that living off-grid means living uncomfortably, taking freezing cold showers. The reality is quite the opposite. When you harness the power of wood efficiently, you can enjoy all the modern comforts. You just generate them yourself, on your own terms. Let us shift our focus to the psychological benefits of this lifestyle. Staring into a fire is deeply ingrained in human DNA. For millennia, the fire was our television, our social media, and our comfort. Today, we stare at glowing blue screens that increase our anxiety and ruin our sleep. But when you rely on a wood stove, the fire becomes the focal point of the room again. There is an incredible peace that comes from watching flames dance behind the glass of a warm stove. It slows your heart rate. It encourages real conversation with your family. Instead of everyone retreating to separate rooms to watch different devices, the warmth draws everyone together. Let me give you an example. It is a Friday night. The wind is howling outside. Instead of watching the news and stressing about the state of the world, your family is gathered around the stove. You're cracking nuts, drinking tea brewed on the iron top, and simply being present. This kind of mental health rescue is just as important as the physical warmth. The wood kitchen heals the mind as much as it heals the body. Let us weave Iwonka's traditions back into our survival strategy. Self-reliance is not a solo mission. It requires community. When you possess real skills, you possess currency. Let us say the banking system freezes. Cash is temporarily useless. How do you get what you need? You barter. This is where your jars of preserved food and Iwonka's beautiful crafts become incredibly valuable. You might have an abundance of canned venison, but you need some fresh milk. Your neighbour has cows, but his family is craving something sweet. You trade a jar of your prized blackberry jam for a gallon of raw milk. And what about Iwonka's Easter centerpieces? In tough times, people still crave normalcy and celebration. A beautifully crafted, traditional centerpiece can be traded for firewood, tools, or labour. People think barter is a primitive system, but it is actually a highly resilient local economy based on trust and tangible value. When you can produce things that keep people alive, like food, or keep people happy, like art, you will never go hungry. Your skills become your ultimate bank account. Another massive aspect of our wood-fueled independence is the concept of foraging. You do not always have to grow everything yourself. Nature provides an absolute abundance of resources if you know where to look. Combining foraging with your jars and your wood stove creates a loop of free energy and food. Imagine walking into the woods in late summer. You find massive patches of wild blueberries or medicinal herbs. You gather them by the bucketful. You bring them back to your wood kitchen. You light a small fire, boil them down into syrups and jams, and seal them in jars. You have just captured wild calories and medicine using absolutely zero money. Many people believe that the woods are empty or that foraging is dangerous. With a little education, the forest transforms into a free supermarket. You learn to identify edible mushrooms, nuts, and greens. Every jar filled with wild food is a small victory against the system. It is a pure, unadulterated form of independence, and it tastes infinitely better than anything you can buy wrapped in plastic at a big box store. Now we must address the practical maintenance of this lifestyle. Wood is a fantastic rescue, but it requires respect and diligence. You cannot just install a stove and forget about it. Chimney maintenance is a matter of life and death. Burning wood creates creosote, a highly flammable substance that coats the inside of your chimney. If you do not clean it, you risk a devastating chimney fire. This is where personal responsibility shines. You do not call a landlord. You put on your gloves, climb up on the roof, and run the brushes down the flue yourself. Picture a crisp autumn day. Right before the first major frost, you are up on your roof, sweeping the chimney. It is dirty work. You come down covered in black soot. But when you light that first fire of the season, and it draws perfectly, roaring with a clean draft, the satisfaction is immense. You know your family is safe because you did the work. The myth that off-grid living is carefree is completely wrong. It is highly disciplined. But it is a discipline that rewards you with total security. Let us talk about the rhythm of seasonal living. Modern society tries to pretend that seasons do not exist. We expect strawberries in December and perfectly climate-controlled rooms in July. But true independence means syncing your life with nature. Your wood kitchen and your jars dictate a seasonal flow. Spring is for planting, summer is for growing and the frantic rush of early canning. Autumn is the climax. It is the time for harvesting, chopping the final cords of wood, and filling the shelves with jars. You work incredibly hard when the days are long. But then comes winter. Winter is the reward. The jars are full. The woodshed is packed to the roof. The days are short, and the nights are long. Now your lifestyle slows down. You spend your time by the wood stove. You repair tools. You make Iwonka's Easter centerpieces in anticipation of the spring. This natural rhythm cures the modern disease of constant, endless rushing. You learn to rest when nature rests. It is a profound shift in how you experience time. You are no longer fighting the earth. You are finally working alongside it. Let us dive into the importance of passing these skills down to the next generation. We are losing crucial survival knowledge at an alarming rate. Most kids today can navigate a smartphone perfectly, but they have no idea how to start a fire without lighter fluid or how to seal a mason jar. If we want true independence to last, we have to teach it. Imagine standing in your kitchen with your child or grandchild. The wood stove is crackling. You are showing them how to check the seal on a jar of green beans. You teach them the satisfying pop sound the lid makes when it is perfectly vacuum sealed. You let them add a small log to the fire, teaching them to respect the heat, not fear it. You are handing them the keys to freedom. There is a terrible myth that kids are bored by traditional skills. In reality, children crave tangible, meaningful work. When they see that their actions directly contribute to the family's survival and comfort, they develop incredible confidence. You are not just raising a child, you are raising a resilient human being who will never be helpless. Let us look at the concept of resilience in the face of modern disasters. We hear the news every day. Grid failures, cyber attacks, extreme weather events. The system is fragile. When you rely completely on the grid, every news broadcast is a source of panic. But when wood is your rescue, your perspective changes completely. Let us imagine a scenario where a massive grid failure hits a major region for 2 straight weeks. In the cities, it is chaos. Supermarkets are emptied in hours, pipes freeze, people are desperate. But out on your property, life barely changes. You wake up, light the wood stove, and make a pot of coffee. You go to your pantry, grab a jar of oatmeal and canned fruit and make breakfast. Your house is warm, your belly is full, your family is calm. The disaster outside is entirely disconnected from your reality inside. This is not about preparing for the end of the world. It is about insulating yourself from the bumps in the road. It is about taking the anxiety out of the unknown. That is the ultimate power of this lifestyle. We also need to appreciate the sheer flavour of this lifestyle. We have talked a lot about survival, but let us talk about joy. The food produced in a wood-fired kitchen, sourced from your own jars, is simply superior. Modern industrial food is engineered for shelf life, not for taste. But your food is different. Picture a simple winter meal. You open a jar of homemade chicken broth, rich with golden fat. You drop in some root vegetables from the cellar. You bake a loaf of sourdough bread on the floor of the wood oven. The crust is thick and dark, with a slight hint of wood smoke. You slather it with butter you traded for. The taste is explosive. It is deeply nourishing. People go to incredibly expensive high-end restaurants to get a taste of rustic, wood-fired cooking. You have it in your kitchen every single day. The myth that survival food is bland and depressing is totally shattered here. True independence means eating like a king simply because you took the time to do things the old-fashioned proper way. As we pull all of these threads together, we see the complete picture. The wood stove, the rows of glass jars, the seasonal crafts of the Iwonka, the daily physical effort. They are not separate hobbies. They are interlocking pieces of a magnificent puzzle. Together, they create an impenetrable fortress of independence. You are no longer a consumer. You are a producer. Every log you burn is a declaration of freedom. Every jar you seal is an act of rebellion against a fragile system. You have taken responsibility for your own life. You have rescued yourself. And the most beautiful part is the deep, quiet confidence that settles into your bones. You go to sleep at night, listening to the wind howl, knowing that the fire will hold. You know that the pantry is full. You know that whatever tomorrow brings, you have the skills and the supplies to handle it. This is not a step backward into the dark ages. It is a massive leap forward into true, undeniable liberty. Wood is indeed the rescue, and it is waiting for anyone willing to strike the match. And there you have it. The shocking truth is that the ultimate high-tech survival tool is actually a simple piece of wood. We have seen how a wood-fired kitchen not only heats your home, but transforms your cooking. We have uncovered the immense power of a pantry lined with jars, acting as your personal, inflation-proof bank account. And we have learned from traditions, like Iwonka's beautiful Easter centerpieces, that surviving off the grid does not mean giving up on culture and beauty. The real climax here is realizing that true security does not come from a government program or a utility company. It comes from your own two hands, a sharp axe, and a roaring fire. You can choose to be dependent and anxious, or you can choose to be independent and free. It is that simple. Thank you so much for watching and exploring this journey back to self-reliance with us. If this video opened your eyes, please hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and share it with someone who needs a backup plan. Now I have a question for you to answer in the comments. If the power went out for a month, what is the very first thing you would run out of? Let me know below.